3 more minutes. Okay, it is time. Hello, 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 everyone. How are you today? And stuff like that. Yes, yes, yes. It is time to begin project exploration for the week. And yeah, it's time for our highlights, of course. uh, but yeah, I don't know. I've never been really good at the whole Genki thing. But let's good move on anyways. Um, yeah, so highlights of the week. Well, a lot of things did actually happen over the week. Interesting things and some interesting developments. Um, but also a lot of boring stuff happened too, of course. And I guess A plus is me, the Halloween party that happened with the Great Bug and all that. It kind of did rekindle some people and get caught up at some people. But I feel that in all it helped fix the atmosphere of certain things that were happening around the AI stuff and around stuff I've been doing in specific too. But in general, help fix the atmosphere of the it's been happening in VR chat. And some of the more background things. So that I feel was a bonus, and as it was probably noticed, me and operator finally were talking about things, and there, it came out that there was some misunderstandings. But it is what it is, and as pointed out in there, we decided to go ahead and unban her but not dealing, from joking instances, which is whatever. Because I mean, that's we've already moved on past ICOM as much as I could, but and I can't entirely just ditch it and ditch the community. I'm letting that still be, but my focus is of course project exploration. And that's it's also something that I've been trying to reiterate and establish, which I felt was a little more established this weekend with this party. Is that I'm not necessarily throwing joking away. Like again, this has been something that keeps getting misconcepted. Joking is staying. Right now, since it's Halloween time, we have her hanging around, her old Halloween modified world, the Jokin's place or Jokin's Resort. So we have her there until our party coming up this Thursday, which is open to the public. It is something everyone can come to. We will be doing a VR chat world hop, of course. But this is stuff that, like I said, I don't like to have on my resume anymore. That association of VR chat because of the rest of VR chat. While we live in a bubble of people who are decent human beings, there are a lot of indecency that happen on the outside of that bubble. While I still feel that VR chat is a great platform, that's not how the world perceives it. And there was a bit of that discussion too that had happened over the week. Like one of the main things is like when employers are looking at when they go, what is this VR chat thing? And they look at, start Googling it and researching it. The first things they find, like when you type in Google VR chat, you find like, oh, VR chat's a terrible place. You find literally stuff upon stuff upon stuff explaining that. And the problem is not that, just like you can find this about any platform, any game, whatever, but it's that this stuff comes up first and that is the primary focus in the searches when they come up. And it's also the same when you search for VR chat on YouTube. VR chat has a definite public image problem and that needs to be acknowledged, and people in general, the community, not just the community, need to do something about it. Everyone needs to do something about it. VR chat, the community, etc. And it doesn't help that there's reaffirming beliefs within some people of the community. Like when, you go and say, hey, VR chat's known for, trolling and porn, or trolling and sex. And they just turn around and say, yeah, that's what it is. And it's like, you shouldn't reaffirm that statement. Like people just don't get that. But that aside, I'm not going to get into too much of that. The whole thing with the AI stuff, it's a we buried, at least I don't know, partially buried the hatchet. I don't know where it's going with that. It's just whatever. Celeste is Celeste. But yeah, I mean, joking is forever going to be just joking, and AICOM is what it is, drives joking. I still don't feel comfortable putting that as a primary focus because, again, it's not getting me anywhere. It's two different things that are looked down on in the industry, and something that isn't helping me get a job. When people see VR chat, that's looked down on. When people see AI, like in this case, because there's all the drama that's been happening with AI and all the stuff that's been happening with AI, that's looked down, frowned upon. So those are two heavy things working against me. That is why I need to focus on project exploration. And now we're dealing with a problem of I went all in on this. I'm going all in on this, and I'm not backing down because at this point, now I have something that I'm also passionate about and very passionate about. I've been working pretty hard on this so far, and I wish to continue doing so. And I really have a story that I want to tell, and that I want people to see and experience. I really think that the Angel Project universe, which I guess is the best description for it, is a universe that comes with a lot of my thoughts on morality and ethics. That it's a way of expressing those thoughts and opinions, and at a philosophical standpoint, in a way that lets people think about it, and lets me articulate what I'm trying to say about these things. I mean, one of the things about the whole, uh, Angel Project universe is the socio dynamics, the social dynamics that are going to be in play. The um, the things between AI and itself, because I mean that's the whole thing. Before even working on Jokin, I was already into AI stuff. That's been kind of my whole point and thing. In this case with the space exploration bit of things, it's been artificial intelligence and space exploration, and that whole exploring the idea of replicants and uh, androids and cyborgs, and understanding the difference between those different categories of automatons in this case. Um, but yeah, I've always wanted to learn more about that stuff in a way too, which is why I was kind of all on working on AI in the first place. Uh, but the only way, one of the ways I will say that we will get people behind the idea of AI is if there's less negative and more positive perspectives of AI. Like, we have games like Mega Man. Everyone knows what that is, and loves that series and whatnot. That has mostly positive perspectives on artificial intelligence, but not what I feel is a realistic like perspective of artificial intelligence and these kinds of things. Then we have things like Near Automata, which has a little bit more of a realistic sense to these things. But then just because it's Near Automata and because it's what it is, there's also a lot of tragic elements to it because that develops a more complex story. Uh, but then there's things like the Terminator, which have a very negative context to artificial intelligence and androids and stuff like that. And of course, some of what DBZ shows uh, has negative connotations, and unfortunately, the negative connotations, the negative representations of artificial intelligence out there outweigh the positive representations of this kind of artificial intelligence. Um, yeah. And of course, hey Pumpkin, what do you think of that? Pumpkin, are you there? Boop. I did hit the right key though, right? Yeah, she's listening. Oh, looks like it's yeah. Let's try this. I might need to put a video card with more VRAM on this machine, I swear, because I think that's what's happening here. Is her memory went burr. Um, Looks like in general that we have a bunch of things consuming it. But anyways, despite the point, getting back on track here of what I hope from project exploration. Um, it is the whole uh space angel project universe and everything. And that whole like mentality though is that with Angel Project it is basically replicants and replicants being used to help further humanity into the universe. And I feel that has been one major positive thing to it, and part of what Project Exploration worked in was the interactions with humans and the way what I was intending for with the original is basically how replicants weren't even going to be allowed on the Earth because that the Earth was preserved as to be human and organic only. Partly, it actually was due to what I felt was the fear of the stuff by humans in the first place, and why that was kind of written into the that concept. But yeah, I want to move past that a little bit though first, and maybe one day we can come back to the Angel Project as a game itself. But that's where I'm into project exploration, whatever we call this beast, which is unknown yet. We're landing on a planet far away that humanity has moved on to, and humans and replicants together, are going to work together to inhabit and populate this planet, or well, repopulate. In this particular case of what we're going for in the story. Uh, there we go. Now Pumpkin's back there. We're getting to that, but I'm still going on story-driven things and how the story relates to my personal life and how that all actually ends up coming together. Actually, um, and yeah, we have, like I said, these stories, these things, these concepts that I've come up with for many from many years ago. And some of it's not really new because, I mean, we have other media that talks to us about these things, such as Blade Runner. And honestly, I kind of had the Alter Carbon idea, but Alter Carbon kind of came to it before me. And I didn't realize it basically some of my ideas were basically just Alter Carbon. Um, But I mean, I still want to experiment with those ideas in a game, and it was all that stuff really that why even let myself put an LLM in a bot that was originally just intended to be an event bot. And I was like, why would I put an LLM in an event bot? And somebody kept pushing and pushing me to do it, and I'm like, okay, fine. And so I did. And then we ended up with Jokin in the early stages of Jokin. I had no idea that it would eventually explode the way it did. But it also, died off really fast too. Because everyone's like, "Ooh, wow!" with Jokin when she first came out, but then all the heavy trolling happened, and then people stopped caring, and now there's only like a handful of good supporters, good Patreons who all believe in the project still, that have made AICOM happen as far as it did at least. But unfortunately, it's time for me to move past that. And some of my week, this week actually, and that's where we're getting at in the review of the week. Some of my week has been addressing ICOM issues. One of the things that people might find out and see with Jokin when they go to see her, talk to her, or whatever, is that she is a little bit faster because it turns out there's now, I'm sorry, there's now the V3, large V3 of the Whisper model that was made available in Turbo. So she is now using for her hearing large V3 Turbo, which is actually faster than the old V2 small, which is really nice. And so yeah, she can hear a little better and she responds a little faster because of it. Now it seems the biggest thing that actually slows down the hearing portion of things is the diarization for sure. The diarization can take up to a second sometimes, but yeah, it's whatever. The joke can responds fairly quickly and it's nice because of it. Um, and actually, I don't even know. Do I even have Pumpkin here set with diarization? Because if I do, I shouldn't. I think I turned it off for her at one point. Do 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 do. I never really set up things like, "Hey Pumpkin, do you have this on?" or "Hey Pumpkin, do you have that on?" Like that kind of stuff because it would just get out of hand. Especially when your AI is in like a in a public area, because then like people do try to think that she does works that way and try to use it to exploit and get it to do things that it shouldn't. Like people will honestly think she's like an Alexa or something, and of course try to get her to do things that an Alexa would. And it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. Whoops, wrong thing. Okay, yeah, she has diarization off, so she should be moving fairly quickly in her hearing. Although it says she's stuck on STT right now, which is a little concerning. Wow, it looks like she got backed up pretty bad, actually. Well, this is new. I've never seen it get backed up this bad. Well, maybe for her, I'm probably gonna still have her use the tiny EN model, or base EN, because it looks like she got backed up pretty badly. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'll have her back on in a second. There we go. There she is. What's dark? Huh? Like this is a pretty bright stream, so I don't know what you mean by dark. I have nothing showing on my desktop yet. It's just me still covering the review stuff. But anyways, yeah. Where was I? Yeah. So yeah, back we ended up doing some AI com stuff. Part of it was the new model that I just explained came out. So people wanted a way to add that model. I realized during that that I don't want to have like I don't want to have to keep updating AICOM just so people can select a new model. So I ended up adding a custom field in AICOM, which you can see actually if I pull that here. So yeah, basically now in AICOM and double pumpkin. Anyways, you can go into the services and the hearing services now, and here we're hearing models. You get the old ones that are still there, but then you can set, of course, custom where you can set that new model or any new models that will come in the future. Like I said, right now I don't want to really have to deal with adding them over and over since that's a done LTS. That's a product in LTS at this point. And let's see, the other part of it was the Linux build was acting funny. Still not 100% sure why there was an issue with the Linux build, but the conclusion came out to be that just build it on Linux. Build the Linux version on Linux. But Unity 6 is also having some weird problems, the newest version of Xubuntu and Ubuntu. For some reason with 2404, it's not importing the C# DLLs correctly, and I'm not sure what the heck is going on there and what they need to fix. If like maybe something mono isn't being implemented or added correctly or what, but it's something Unity will probably need to sort out to get that fixed. But anyways, so yeah, I still got a little bit of the crud, by the way, which just sucks. So I'll probably be pausing a lot or muting a lot to clear my throat because it's still happening from being sick 2 weeks ago. But yeah, other than that, there was another small thing that was fixed. It was dynamic personality traits. Oh no, it wasn't even that. It was I don't even remember now. There was something else small that we added functionality for. Yeah, I don't, but yeah, that whatever. But those 2 fixes alone, unfortunately, made me lose 2 days. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like, because I had to set up a VM, and then I had to battle with those issues. Like I said, with the VM, with Linux, Unity 6 specifically not working on Linux. So I had to like do a bunch of stuff to try to figure it out. And of course, it's all slow because like you have to download AICOM again. Like I had to download all of its source onto the new VM. I had to install the operating system and this, that, and the other thing. Until I could cook up the right formula just to basically build AICOM correctly, for Linux, which was kind of a pain. But now that I have it, I am leaving it alone. Like I am not touching that one. It is staying where it is. Nope, no more of that. But yeah, back to project exploration. What I was doing there, since I wrapped up the shader, of course, and we finished that. Well, I mean, it's not finished, but it's at a point where it's done enough that stuff can be added to it, and the base shader can be left alone. I decided to the font to stick with, which is of course Sun, and not Dim Sun, but it's an old version of the font, which you can actually see on screen here. But getting a nice clean rasterization for it to be used for the game's font, took a while. So I spent literally all of a day and 2 rasterizing every glyph for that font to be used here in project exploration. And it's for people who are new to game development to explain what rasterization means. In this particular case, with the when it comes to fonts, it means to create a tile sheet essentially that has all the different characters pre-rendered on it. Because one of the ways to increase the performance of text rendering in a game is simply by making it a texture lookup and have everything already pre-rasterized, and rasterizing meaning, converted to pixels, rendered, so pre-rendered into a texture. And yeah, that's essentially what Unity does when it creates what's called an SDF. There's still fancier stuff going on with an SDF than just it being rasterized, because there's things that are encoded in that texture that are that allow it to be bigger and smaller, to allow it to grow and shrink the text. Yeah. But yeah, so that was in part of starting to get the UI stuff done, the menu handling, and basically getting getting everything, the framework of this game, start to be built, so I can actually navigate screens and menus. And of course, yeah, we had that issue last week where I couldn't figure out how to really handle the cameras and camera stacking. Camera stacking in Unity 6 is really weird now because you actually have to set camera stacks, and you actually have to set how those things are behaving on each camera that comes through. So this makes it a not automatic process as it used to be. It's now a manual process, unfortunately. So that's where things I had to do. Let's see. Let's bring up. The scenes controller. So we have the scenes controller. I have on ready camera and all this stuff. This scenes controller is this? Yeah, the main. And now I'm a little confused because this should be in here, not in here. But this is the main scenes controller, like all of them, all the scenes. There's gonna be logos and stuff. So like what we got going on, it's on core. Oops, I should probably have hit the main menu first before hitting play. Yeah, let's do that. I'll explain that in a second here too. What's going on there? Menu, subheader button. This is the button, okay, for the menu. Here we go, menu. This one off. So when you start this up, of course, you get these logo screens like this where it's like, ooh, fancy fade in and fade out. That's already what I'm starting with. And then of course we have that, which whoop, what happened? That wasn't supposed to happen yet. But that's where I got though, was okay, we got our scene handling, we had the handoff from the core to our first logo screen, and then the scene handoff will handle from logo screen to logo screen to logo screen. Amazing. Thanks for pointing out, Crane. I don't know what to do about that. That's just strange. Why does it? How would I even fix that? I don't know. Is it not playing video? Like, is the video at least working, or what is going on? That's strange. I thought maybe it was just like not showing me my own video anymore in Twitch, but it's not showing any video at all. But it shows that I'm live, and it's not showing. Yeah, how do I fix this? What? There is a bug in Twitch that's causing this, but not at the same time because apparently it was fixed 6 years ago. This isn't good. I don't know what to do. Maybe if you go to channel/Chibiscold, or is it no Chibiscold/channel? What does it do? It still says that I'm offline. What about on YouTube? What is it doing? YouTube is showing video just fine. It just isn't, which is good because last week it wasn't. But this time it seems we are having issues with it showing live at all. Anyway, it says there was a video as a recent broadcast 42 minutes ago. Wait, watch live. Yeah, and I click that and it takes me to something that thinks I'm not live. But Restream, which is what I'm using for maintaining this, shows that I'm live just fine. And you can see me there. So is it not? I don't want to accidentally break the stream while it's running. Perhaps maybe try switching over to the YouTube stream and seeing if that helps. I'll put the direct link to the YouTube stream in Twitch since it seems to be not working. It's very strange. I don't know. Maybe I need to like reconnect my channels to Restream or something. Which I'll do, I guess, after the stream to try to fix it for next week. But I really don't want to break it at the moment while it's currently running. But anyways, very bizarre. Now I don't remember where I was left off. Right. So going over what I was working on. Yeah, we got to the title screen and whatnot. Yeah, and then the handoff. So we have the different handoffs from the different logos. So it goes from logo A to logo B, logo C. I implemented that in here so that we have those different handoffs for the screens, and then I'm using a stack camera system, so the menu here can always be present. But part of when I was setting up this menu system was also getting controller initially set up and setting up like the inputs for the controller, which do not seem to be working. Oh boy, gotta love it. Nothing's working today. Yeah, this should be doing its thing too, which it's not, because if I press the menu button, it should be saying, hey, you press the menu button. Or is it because I commented out? No, wait. I did. Okay, on menu is actually not showing the menu at the moment. But what happened here where the any key setup happened? It shouldn't have triggered the title screen from fading away. The title screen should still be showing, saying please press a button. Okay. Camera and controller. Okay, here's a canvas, which I unfortunately left named canvas. I should also set this up to use that group instead, though. Title screen, the title screen for this is on the canvas, okay. It's currently on title fade out, which means that this parameter, high title, got set to true. Which means the any key had to have gotten hit. Let's work at that first. Well, I'm gonna leave that information, like little debug log here of is menu button pressed for now, so I know that if it's actually firing or not. So I'm not going crazy. And I was explaining cameras and how they work in Unity. So as with that title screen, for example, right? We programming lemao. Anyways, yeah, you see there's this stack here that's on the camera. And this is what has to get populated essentially when each scene loads. So that's actually what the a scene controller is, this scene controller, and then we have the tile screen controller in specific. But the a scene controller will look for the main camera in the system, which in this case, this is requiring the camera component. So the scene controller is expected to be on the camera that is for that scene. So what I have to do is take the camera for the scene that loads in this case, and then add it to the UI's camera stack, because in this case, well, actually, I have to add the UI's camera to the camera stack of the scene camera, because that's how they work. And that's also where I ran into some weird stuff too, because camera stacking only works in forward rendering unless it is the base. So what I discovered was basically deferred rendered stuff, which is what we'll be using deferred rendering in this game, it can only work in a base camera and cannot be you cannot use layers camera layering, camera stacking. But you can have your UI be in the forward rendering, that has to be forward rendering. So I did have to actually make a slight modification to the shader, which I don't know if I showed that last week, but also to show that, just in case we ever have to, but probably won't. Let's see, testing assets, come on. Testing assets, scenes, shader coding. So in our shader development here, I have, here's our character. Let's put that actually over here so we can see everything in a 2-up. Oops, scene, game. So if I turn on the forward camera, where is my forward camera? There it is. If I turn that on, you can see that it's actually rendering still. I just had to make some slight modifications to the shader that it could still render in forward rendering mode. But you also see some slight difference in the quality and behavior because of it, which is okay. It's like whatever. But it mostly looks the same, so it doesn't matter to me, I guess, because I mean, in the end, it's still using forward plus, which the real magic that happens with the shader for its cell shading, it all happens because of the forward plus system. So, whatever. Whether it's forward or base, deferred as its base doesn't really matter because of the forward plus stuff. Doop 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 doop. I didn't really change anything, but there we go. Okay, and yeah, back to title. Let's see why the title screen is immediately going into the button being pressed, because it shouldn't be. I bet in some cases it's probably actually because it doesn't have the initial state of false. Yeah, so here we have on screen ready. It just sets the title screen game object to active, and title screen here on this is probably the title screen is this canvas, which title screen, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it really is just says the character selection screen is also going to be off of this too, so it's kind of weird that it's called just title in a way, but the title screen is gonna react with the character selection screen. So it should really be like title and character selection, but title screen is fine for the controller, I guess, for now. Right. So yeah, it turns on. We need to make sure though that when it does turn on, that there's an initial state. And let's see, title UI controller. Actually, we want to look at, which there's nothing in there at the moment. So honestly, why is it doing this? Probably because in here, it's default to hide. So yeah, we probably need to deal with that one. But then yeah, there was some stuff we figured out, or I figured out about inputs and stuff. When we have our on main menu here, right? This happens and is possible because the input behavior that's added on it, which it doesn't look like I have one of these on here. So input, or well, it's called the player input. And in this case, we want this to react only to the hello. Oh, any, but yeah, UI mappings. So that's what's kind of neat about the new Unity input system is you can define types of mappings in this particular case, and the main two types obviously we'll be having is player and UI. Obviously your buttons for the UI should remain consistent, and whereas your buttons for the player and moving in gameplay actually, so it really probably should just read gameplay, should be configurable. And that's in the end idea here is that we'll eventually be creating a input mapper for specifically that player mapping. And that can have any number of the schemas from keyboard, mouse, gamepad, all that stuff. So input module. This is fun because it will need to know this somehow from core. This is where we have more weird handoff stuff. But yeah, we fun. It needs to find the game. This case we have the main camera already. We do have the camera that it will need to look for. But the UI input module needs to come from. Well, maybe no, because that boop. Oh, well, that would help too. Maybe it won't have an issue with that since it's a subscene, technically. Sure. Yep, okay. All right. So now that we have that, we just need to now, I think, well, one thing I definitely want to test here for sure is on any. On any is a very interesting one. And yeah, it needs to be public. Wow, typing is a problem. Anyways, debug.log, something pressed. I'll put on here though that was from triggered by on any. But yeah, we do want to set up though that when this thing awakes, actually that can be private, that we take the animator. I'm going to make it a habit of actually just setting this stuff through the UI in this case, just so that way I don't have to mess. If I don't have to do it during runtime, the better. The least I have to do at runtime, the better. It's better to just have it serialized, honestly. Some will argue that, but honestly, I think it's just better to have stuff serialized and easier access to for later purposes. So in this case, we do animator then. Set bool. And our bool for the animator title screen, hide title, false. Yeah, the default state is going to be fade in. So yeah, it should just fade in and then stop. All right. So now let's see what happens if it happens correctly. Some of this is new to me, of course, because changes in Unity. So that's where I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? And this is one of those new features of the input system, by the way, is that if you name an input, in this case the any input, you have an on input essentially. Oop, and I totally did not pay attention. So we get our fancy logo, whoop whoop, and that fades away, and then whoop, there it is. And yeah, there's also something I just didn't think of, and I screwed up already with that title screen. That needs to already get changed on this animation. What really needs to happen here is canvas grouping. I have canvas grouping in this alpha. And then in the animations that I was doing for this, I actually need to set it up more appropriately. Instead of this fade, it really should be, let's just go ahead and do record, 0 here to 1 there on the canvas group. Okay, and then we can get rid of these from that. Did I accidentally? Oh, and it's not going to let me. Okay, I hope I didn't remove anything incorrect. And then, of course, the same thing with fade out. I feel like I accidentally removed something. Oh, no. Remove those properties, record. And in this case, the canvas alpha, boop, 1 to 1 second at 0. There we go. And we get a 1 second fade out. So if we show this, of course, and we play this, we should see, yep, the whole thing fade out. So we don't have to individually fade each component. This actually just handles a fade on the whole thing. I'm not sure if we want blocking raycasts. It's not really interactable. Oops, it's still in preview mode, so let's get rid of those. Or not preview, but edit mode. Okay. All right, so now if we go to core, of course, and hit play, we should now see it show logo. And you see, I want this menu to always be accessible no matter where you are, kind of thing. And there it is, project exploration. And what happens if I hit a button? We do not get an any. No any's. Oh, that worked. Any key works, not any button. And also our menu is not showing up. So our controller is not doing what it's supposed to. It is indeed plugged in. I don't know why it's not getting input. The any event definitely fired. Let's see. I mean, one thing I can also just do is unplug it and plug it back in. Could also just be the controller acting up. Yeah, there it is. Joystick reconnected. But we're still not getting menu buttons triggering. Like it should be firing the menu event. See if I click it. Even clicking it is not firing it because I think something's not happening with raycasting. Button. Yeah, this is boop. It actually needs the main menu controller. Well, we don't have a. Like, we can just piggyback that on menu event, but it's probably a bad idea to do that, honestly. Let me think about that one a second. Is there anything that could cause this to be fucky wucky? Nah, I don't think so. It is a very similar event. If we ever need to split off, we can split off. For now, it'll stay the same. And we're still not getting events firing to it. Now, is it because of other parts of it, or is it because of something else? If I click invoke on here, there's usually an invoke. What happened to the button invoke? Unity, please. You used to have an invoke option on here. What happened? There's a warning, lots of warnings. Event systems, do not do this. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Core needs to have the event system, not title, unfortunately, and not any logos. So that also means, like, yeah, we need to make sure any canvases get assigned that event system if they're looking for an event system from core, which would be handled by essentially the scenes controller, I guess, in that particular case, or the scene controller. Well, there is a disconnect happening on Restream. Amazing. Wait, am I still alive? Is this still live? It is still live. Wait, how's it live if it's... What? I'm confused. It says Restream went down, but it's clearly still live. And now I'm just confused. All right. What? The chat module for Restream is misbehaving. Oh, there we go. Now it works. Let me give it a testing and find out. Looks like, okay, it's sent to both just fine. Okay. And yeah, I see it in both, but I still don't know why Twitch is in a limbo state. That's very strange. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, continuing on. Right, input system. First, we definitely have to get that menu working and the controller working, because why is the controller not doing its thing? If it's glitchy, that's going to be a problem. The controller, that is. Okay, we got an input settings configuration thing now. Oh, this is for render pipeline though. We could put that actually then in just settings. And honestly, that's probably overall should be render pipelines are, that stuff is just settings. I think I see why I didn't put that in there. I still haven't got an answer back about the ray tracing problem and what's going on there. But we can always come back to that later too. Oh yeah, controller input. What is going on here? Controls and input settings. Okay. Our controls are just controls. I mean, it's just going to use any current active gamepad. Right. Yeah. So it should be using whatever the active gamepad is. Why it's not interpreting things correctly is a little strange. Is Steam open? Maybe the problem is Steam input getting in the way? Oop, that's a problem. Right, I can't do that. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. I was looking at something, which is why Final Fantasy 16 was up. I already finished that game. But everything locked up here. Warudo? Hello? Was not actually actively trying to. Okay, there's a cancel button there. There we go. Warudo's back alive. Hey, over here. Okay, but why is Unity not seeing my controller? That is the real question. See, on menu button, the menu button. And then, yeah, Steam is like, oh, you want the keyboard? Okay, here's a keyboard. Like, I don't want the keyboard. Leave me alone. Huh? That's why I think maybe Steam input is getting in the way of it. I doubt it, though. But maybe I shouldn't be using menu. I don't know. Let's see. Menu specifically here. Yeah, it's the start button anyways. Escape as well on the keyboard. So if I press play. Yeah, menu button press. There you go. But why am I not getting... when I press the start button on the controller, it's not doing anything. That's amazing. Okay, control panel, open. Device manager. No, not device manager. I'm sorry. It's usually the raw controller is found on devices. Okay, so, yep, and that wasn't showing it, but here it is, the panel that we're looking for. Here's that. I mean, yeah, you can see I'm using a type of Switch Pro controller. Yeah, I don't know. It's all, it seems to be working here. There's the start and select buttons, essentially. So, yeah, what? for now, I'm gonna fix the little glitch that was happening there too. But yeah, we also need to look at why the any wasn't working either, because the any should be any gamepad button. Let's look at this thing. Okay, so camera, clear input. Camera's not needed anyways. Yeah, it's just the UI input module that's needed. That needs to be passed on to everything. I mean, that could be why the title screen, the title screen was still doing its thing anyways. I don't know. In this particular case, though, with the main menu, though, we should make sure that the canvas has access to an input controller thing. Yeah, we have a graphics recaster. Okay, none blocking, everything clickable. This should be functioning, and yeah, that's where we're having a kind of problem there. And yeah, here menu and animator. Nope, I don't have an animator on there yet. So add component, animator. And then of course, let's put animator. There was something that was throwing an error on that. Yeah, main menu button press. I was setting, show menu in the animator to true. So in the animator, main menu, I don't have it existing yet. It was what I was working on right before I started the stream, actually. With setting up this little animation controller here. And well, deciding on how to like actually handle all that stuff. And as you see, I also started to build out the UI for what that main menu should look like. And that's, well, there's why I had Final Fantasy 16 open, because I went and looked at how they handled menus and UI components and went like, okay, what of this would work for me? Like, so, I was, poking at their stuff or their look to kind of get an idea of how I want mine to look like. Or at least functionality wise, not appearance wise yet. And that's yet to be decided. Right now, it's, I just want this thing to have the correct function, the correct toolkit, the correct, functionality. And yeah, animator, there we go, animator. In this little guy, we need a bool, which is, show menu, and then we have high show menu, and then of course we have our two new animations that we added, which never actually got configured, but let's do that anyways, since we already know what to do here. Bye-bye, load the guy that way, that guy that way. We set a bool here, show menu true. Wait a minute. We're backwards. This is the default state. Show menu true, so that goes into fade in, and then show menu false to return to fade out, to fading out. I could probably also like do a, well, no, never mind, because we wanted to actually animate, and it's on its own. And of course, we don't want these to have loop time or anything. We want them to be able to just run and end. We don't want any exit time or anything like that, because again, well, I guess it just is. No exit time. Stop. There we go. And if I did, I could just probably set it to 1 second, I suppose. Fixed duration, that should be 100%. Yeah, 100% of animation. But that doesn't, what is this? That duration. That doesn't make any sense. So fixed duration, just 1 second, I guess, because that's how long the animation is. And I just realized it's probably the same for the other thing. For the other animator we have. So there we go, both set to 1 second. Main menu, title. Oh, this is supposed to be in controllers. Huh. I accidentally already made one and never did anything with it, so... Huh? Okay, deleting that one. There we go. Yeah, correct main menu. Right, so in there, animation, of course. Dang it, what is that? Why did it double click something and it decides that you double clicked it, and even though my mouse was over animation, like what? Anyways, record, of course, and then we for this particular case, I think I've been trying to figure out like how do I want to handle the menu show and fade parts of it. And I think it might be okay to let the animator control if the state of the menu item. So I guess let's do that. And then of course, what is on here? Why are you on there? Go away. We don't need you. Okay, there we go. Fade in, record. So for the fade in, of course, we want to enable the menu and then begin the fade in of course, 1 second fade in. And of course, making sure the menu is enabled during that time. And this is where things get a little silly is with the fade out. We have to make sure it's enabled. We have to set that fade in. Oops. Make sure it's enabled. Set that fade in 1. And then from here, we make sure that it goes to a state of disabled. But only after it completes the fade. Like that. So a little funky. Okay. And I just realized this is a transition. We really don't even need the transition to last that long. It can just be smaller than the animation, actually. I don't know what I was thinking there. There really shouldn't be any, actually, yeah, none. No, it should just change. No duration, no transition. Because we just literally go from this state to that state, and we want to be in that state and run that animation once. Yeah, hi from South, yeah, that's a long distance away. South Africa, though. I've always wanted to know what it's like there, honestly. Interesting sounding place. Oh, yeah? Hey, Pumpkin, what was that about? She acting up again? Oh, there she is. Oh, okay, cool. Sure, totally that. All right, anyways, now I guess I need something to actually like keep track of that menu state. Private bool menu state equal menu shown equals false, I suppose. And yeah, I'm doing menu.set active here. In this particular case, I don't think we even need to do that. But yeah, if menu shown is false, then clearly we just toggle it here. Menu shown equals not menu shown. And this is simple toggle logic. When you do this is not that or not this. It just says hey, there's flip that bit, flip it to the opposite, true to false, false to true. Uh, Typical Boolean logic basically, and yet set bool. And let's see, what do we got? Something weird happened there. Oh, I left the menu open here, so it didn't actually like disable it before starting. The default state was fade out, right? Like, oh, because the default state's fade out. Donk. If the default state is fade out, it means it's going to try to fade out. And we don't want it to fade out from as it starts. What we really want is a null state where nothing is on. So we can actually go into our main menu. We actually want to create a state default, ironically. And we want to make that default. There we go. And then make the transition to fade in the same condition that show menu is. So what this is doing, basically, we start here with nothing, and then we, when show menu becomes true, we go to fade in. The menu fades in. When show menu is false, we fade out, and then it stops. It ends and idles there, and then fades back in when you open the menu again, and back and forth. This unfortunately doesn't mean we can do some soft weaning. I wonder if that is what I probably should be doing is like playing it forward and backwards. And I think if I set it to play backwards, it'll just reverse its order. We can play around with that in a second, I guess. Okay, so we have this. Okay, press escape. What do we get? Menu button pressed. It did happen, but our state doesn't look like it changed. Do animator. Should be fading in actually. Oh, what? No, it does it. Fade out, fade in, fade out not working. Okay. Again, I don't know why that's not working with the controller, but we definitely have our menu fade in and out at least working there. And it should happen, yeah, from anywhere, like I was saying I wanted to do. But why no start button on controller? It's very strange. And clicky click is also not working there for some reason too. Like the raycasting isn't happening. Like something is blocking it essentially. And I don't know if that's maybe the title screen or something else. We can now that we have this functionality mostly there, play around with that in a second here. But yeah, fade in, fade out. Well, fade out is clearly not doing what it's supposed to, right? So it starts at 1 and ends at 1, which is not what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, so enable and on, if I play it backwards, on, disable. So disable, on, disable. If I do fade in, I can literally just do -1 of fade out. Or I can just establish this correctly and just do one single fade animation instead. which, okay, we have fade, which plays forward, and fade out, which plays backwards. Okay. So we have our menu. Well, actually, I need main menu. Okay. We need to set up the animation for fade. Looks like a bit of it's there, but not fully there yet. Record. And then, the menu itself should be off in that state. Okay, so off, then on. Wait, 0, right. That's the alpha. Same deal there though too. The alpha should be set to 0 and when it's in the off state. So yeah, we turn it on and we start to fade in. And we get to a state where it's on and faded in. And then, there we go. That's all set up. We play it forward and backwards. And now in here we should see it, of course, in an empty state. Hit escape, fades in, fades out, hitting escape double twice. Doesn't do what I expected, but at least doesn't look too glitchy. Like I can sit here and mash it all day. But an interesting problem here of the title screen being effectively masked. And I'm wondering if I should just actually have any and all UI in the core, like I was thinking, like including the, like anything that needs to be clickable UI, be in the UI core there. And yeah, let's see what's going on there. Let's get rid of the title screen. And yeah, what happens now if we click this button? Nothing. Button no worky. It's clearly buttonable, but not clicking. Oh yeah, this is another interesting thing I set up here too for it. And this is stuff I was supposed to be covering as a review of what I've been working on, but I didn't. Yeah, so these menu tabs essentially, like there's going to be tabs along the top here, and right now there's only system, but you can define them here by saying, here's system with button and system screen, so that gets put up there. But then I can add multiple there, which will then have the different screens, in this case, like system screen, that can activate and deactivate, which I still haven't done that activation deactivation code for each one yet either. But essentially, it's just building a struct that is a tab to this main UI or main menu that can open and close these things. And of course, there's like the submenus too, that needs to have this same thing built into it, which it eventually will. So in like system screen here, you can see disable, enable it. It will have that same menu, like it'll probably have its own component here added with the same menu little guy to handle the submenus. Or I will probably just simply do it all off the menu anyways, because then they'll just have submenus in that menu. But that would be, yeah, that would get a little sloppy because of, things there. Oh yeah, it's going to need metadata and stuff too, like whether or not it's hidden, because some of that stuff is going to be, only available once you're actually in game. So I need to be able to have hide and shows for it, and that's just me thinking aloud right now about that. But yeah, again, why is this button not working? And that's something we need to figure out. Why no worky button? So, we have our canvas, we have it in screen space, we have it off of the UI camera. Does this work without passing on to the next screen? Like, what do we... Oh, well, no, because I have to go into core. What if I, from core, from the Studio Jaw logo, avoid, loading the title screen? Let's just put a comment on there for now. Let's see what happens. So here's, Studio Jaw logo. Clicking this menu button is doing nothing. It's a big thunk. Why no worky? Why you no worky? Okay, so the main menu here is looking off the UI camera, as expected. UI input module actually has nothing set to it. That should be this event system manager here. Now, what now? Oh, fix input module. Oh, guess what? It works now. Good. Oops. So let's fix that and out of runtime. It's kind of a neat thing you can do with Unity is you can mess with stuff as it's running. And you can use that obviously to help you diagnose problems. Make sure this event system is menu. Speaking of which, how did I get designed? There we go. The menu itself is supposed to be there, but it's really, I'm not even going to be activating or deactivating it anymore. That's handled by the animation. So I don't even know why I need this reference anymore. But yeah, the input. Where was that? UI input module. And an event system. There we go. Put that on there. Okay, so that's already been fixed apparently somehow. Okay. Now we can save that and boop. Should be able to click it. Still can't click it. This is where I start screaming obscenities. What the actual hell? You were just working. Oh, wait, why did it suddenly decide to work there? What? Oh. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Anything missing in here? Please assign a font asset to this menu game object. Font asset. Oh, why is there a font on there anyways? Yeah. Okay. Disable that. Remove that component. I don't know why that's there. But still doesn't explain why that suddenly isn't working. UI camera, does that need a... It does have an event system. And the main menu, its event system is the event system. The UI camera is the UI camera. Okay. Yeah, and send messages to the behavior, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Why you no work? That's interesting. I wonder why that happened twice. Oh, because it is happening twice. Loading, loaded. Oh, okay. Yeah, clicking menu. Nothing is not doing anything. Yeah, that was an interesting glitch that happened there. Okay, so, bizarre issues. So we have our canvas, screen space camera, right? Like I said, UI camera, all that. Okay. UI camera's there, and it's, yeah, constant. Resize canvas is enabled. Sorting is a thing. All right. We can probably remove at this point since we know it was kind of working for a second there. Okay, so canvas scaler, yeah. Graphic raycaster is pretty typical. Menu is, I mean, this is my own thing, so we can ignore that. The event system is there, although it did a fix on something that was pretty strange. When I go into scenes, though, I don't need to, like, yeah, Studio Jaw logo. I don't have, yeah, the input there or in there. We have it, okay, carried on in there. Now I have a different, what? What is going on here? Why is this camera different from, why is this even on here, actually? I don't think we need that on the camera. Anyways. Yeah, player input module, event system, UI camera is pointed to the camera, which should also point to that, but doesn't. The UI camera doesn't actually have a reference to that, so that makes little to no sense. Explain why I saw that, and it didn't make any sense back there. Animator, of course, yep, doesn't matter there. Event system is, yeah, the input module. First selected is an interesting one here. I guess the first selected thing should actually be the option of exit to desktop. Oop. Boop. Wrong place. There we go. And let's try again. Oh, now we're getting clicks, but not a menu opening. It looks amazing. Works amazing. Is doing its job. But, huh? And we still get no, controller input, though. Okay. It's probably X input is not getting in the way of it in a sense because Steam should be using Steam translates that controller's buttons into the appropriate mappings. And I think that's part of what's missing here is it doesn't have an X input binding without Steam doing it for it. And Unity is working through X input. What did yeah, what? Okay, I'm gonna go back to seeing what happened here at the start because why isn't it showing in that menu? It's very strange. Go back to hiding it, I guess. Or, preventing its transition. Oh, okay. Funny enough that that's working. So when I don't have a transition, it just works? Question mark? What in the living hell? It was no, actually, I don't. I'm running through theories in my head, and yeah, now it doesn't. Oh, there it goes. Uh, why the long delay? I don't like that. Oh, oh. We have an exit condition, but all these timings are like bad. So we're waiting basically for the exit time. Oops. Hey, there we go. That makes more sense. That was probably it the whole time. Oops. Yep, it was. Look at that. Oops. All right, so yeah, we have our menu now. Open and close, just fine and beautiful. But I'm still concerned as to why. Well, basically, it's lost its routing even. Like if I hit left and right, yeah, it should. Okay. Well, why does it go to nothing? Where is it going to here when I press down? It's a little strange. These are things I was worried about with Unity's input system, and where I might end up having to hard bake my own thing instead of relying on their components to do this job for me. Because I mean, it also should be clickable with a button with the mouse too. But maybe we can get it to work with us. I'm still very concerned about the controller input though too. I don't know why. I'm getting stuck on that, I guess. Project settings. So yeah, the gamepad start, but yeah, you see it wants to use it probably as a Switch Pro controller, but that interface isn't currently on. Let me check Steam and see if if I can force it to universally be used as a Switch controller. Mm-hmm. I am not seeing where using games built-in support enables Steam input. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, now we got some stuff there. What happens in yeah, okay, I'm seeing UI controlling. Yeah, there we go, with the gamepad in here. So now maybe if there's UI control with that. Now do we get hey, there we go. Yeah. Well, yeah. Now my start button works. Look at that. Yeah, something pressed on any. There we go. Now we got our title screen behavior correct as well. But now if I close all of this, does it still work? Whee! Yay! Look at that. Maybe 1 second might be a little too long for that, but with other animations in the future, like this is bare bones, and with other animations in the future, it probably will look better. Although I don't know how I feel about it interrupting like this, you know? Because right now it's like it just literally interrupts to the next state. There's no stopping it from going from one state to the other. The other thing I could do is actually take advantage of the transitions. But then we have the issue of being able to hit the menu button multiple times. In which case you hit it twice, for instance, and what will happen is it'll do the whole animation to fade in and then do the whole animation to fade out. Um, where most games, as a menu is doing its transition, there's a blocking of input until that behavior, until the actual change of screens. Um, and I think probably that's more preferred. I don't know if I want it to be able to do this essentially. Although it is kind of nice because if I accidentally hit it, I can just hit it again to get out. But it just goes instantly to the fade out event instead. I'm just hitting it a bunch of times, thinking, wondering, like, do I like this? Do I hate this? Do I like this? I don't know. Ah. But this does give us our universal menu, which is, I find, is something other games don't do. But we'll separate this apart from other games and we'll be nice about it. Well, I mean, actually, there is one particular example that kind of does it, but doesn't do it very well, in my opinion. Throwing Liberty. But it would be nice to just have that universal menu that can always be accessed no matter what the situation is to get into settings and things while you're waiting on stuff. And then, of course, for it to contextually be aware of where you are, too. So it actually have to update when, a scene has changed. But it's also so, when you really need to quit, you can quit and stuff like that. Bah. I don't know if that's what I want to do or not. I'll stick with it. If it gets too weird, I'll change it. I think, yeah, there we go. That's exactly what to think right now. If it gets too weird, I'll change it because, like I said, everything is really temporary at this point. We're trying to build the perfect prototype, so it's going to take some experimenting and trial and error, and if it feels right, we stick to it. If it doesn't, we don't. We get rid of it. We change it. So yeah, that finishes the whole process flow there. Yeah, now we need to actually get it to go into a character select screen. But it doesn't finish the navigation system. The navigation system of that menu obviously doesn't exist yet. And as we saw, what happened there, it didn't go to the first item that it should have. And one of the things that we're going to want here is, in this main menu controller even, we're going to want that to remember. Actually, that makes me wonder too. Press any to continue. Should that be in itself a button? And the answer is also yes. So this gets interesting. But it already is because the mouse click is on the on any. I have mousey click on any, but I don't see it doing it. So I need to make sure that mouse click is on any. Do 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 do. Yep, our input manager. And wait a minute, why does it look different suddenly? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Any keyboard. Huh? That binding is just outright missing. I guess that's where I actually left off and got sidetracked to something. But there is not in any button. So we actually do need to find all of our. We have to define each individual. Oh. Oh. Binding. Game, please. Or Unity, please. East, north, southwest. Okay, fine. We'll do this. We're doing this. You're in it with me now, people. You have to watch me do this. This is pain. This is torture. This is stupid. How do you not define for a gamepad in any button? Like, what? Unity, come on. And, like, get with it. Like, that should have been something that you added to this. What? Like, you did so many nice new things. And this is really nice and all, but where is the any button for your gamepad here? Like, why am I being tortured this way? Left stick press. Gamepad right stick press. And then of course triggers and left button, left trigger, yeah, left shoulder. And then left trigger. Let's get these lefts all together, right? With all these lefties, am I right? No. Right. Actually, I wonder if I can just do right shoulder. It'd probably actually be faster than digging through nonsense. And then right trigger. There we go. And then of course, we need to add one more binding. Select gamepad. There we go. And then of course we need to add click. Left click, left click. Left mouse, left button. Add and right button. How important is this, you may be wondering, and I'm wondering that myself. I mean, if it says press any to begin, you should be able to press any to begin, but why is this really worth it to do all this nonsense? Now, should it also be the forward and back buttons? Button 4 and 5 on the mouse are pretty standard. Obviously, I want those in the game to be mappable in some way for people like me who love to use the mouse 4 for dodging or even guarding in certain games. Yeah. Boo badoo 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 badoo. I don't know what about it. Yeah, I think this might actually be enough of any that define any. Okay, now rechecking that. See if we get a click does actually trigger the any. And again, if you're watching from Twitch and you're not seeing any video, please try the YouTube link because something went awry on Twitch. Don't know what. Okay, so we have our any, and our any is not anying. Our menu is menuing, but our any is not anying. And this is where I was saying maybe I need to actually set up a and oh boy, Discord noises. It's not in stream mode for some reason. Let me turn that on. Streamer mode. There we go. But the okay, this is actually kind of important. They're a little confused about something. Oh, actually, this is actually never mind. Not as important as I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, this is where we need to do a handoff of the event system and make sure that that menu gets it. Which I think we can actually make sure this gets handoffed correctly by simply asking the main menu. Actually, anything that is a submenu or a menu within the system should just be able to ask the main menu for the event system. In this case, main menu controller, let's just go ahead and just make sure that it's something that's, again, serialized and just made available to everything. By this. And so there's a static location that these things can get all the stuff from. So this main menu, it's hidden, that's why. We want to make sure this event system gets put there and appropriately assigned. So now when we go over to well, in this case, our title screen, title UI, we have it here, and on any, in this case, awake. High title is forced and set to false. Title dot that well no, we can leave that alone. But okay, let's go look at the title screen now. Whee! Title. Okay, so what do we got here in the title screen? Right, we got all this stuff, blah blah blah. The title UI controller, this course right here, and what is missing is not the canvas, or is it? Player input here actually doesn't have the player input module. So we need this player input. Player input. And let's see if that's the correct component. Hopefully it is. Player input. Cool. There we go. And we need to make sure that that player input event system, which, okay, UI input module, okay. UI input module equals, and in this case, main menu controller dot instance, okay, which public main menu controller instance. It should point to that. There we go. Wait, it does. And it's hiding inspector. So why doesn't it? Cause I'm a dummy, and of course didn't do static. There we go. It has to be static. And then dot event system. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of okay, I guess yeah, we just make it public. But it really should be like private serialized in that way. And then public. And this is a problem because if I don't know what it will do if I decide to do that. But let's find out, I guess. Okay, event system. Public. Event system. Yeah, okay, I did that one wrong probably. Event system. Point it to the private. Hopefully it doesn't look weird in the UI being written in that way. And it'll also help if I spelled it correctly. There we go. And now event system. But why not? What does that make this look like? So title screen, yeah, player input. Actually, yeah, there is player in. No, wait, it's main menu controller that we need to look at now. So back to core. Main menu controller, event, UI input module, event system. Is that event system? Is there a casting problem here? Cannot implicitly convert. Yeah, it needs to be casted. But in the same regard, we can probably just put input system UI input module for this. Input system UI input module. We can make it explicit and then I'll stop being so bitchy whiny. Okay, and so yeah, put our event system into there and then boom, there we go. And yeah, that should be able to hand it off. Let's make sure it does. Whee! Okay, yeah, we still have no any key event firing. Our main menu though, of course, we have, yep, our player input is on here. It's on and then UI, and it does look like the event system from core. Yep, got assigned. Wait, where we? I'm looking at main menu, title screen. It did not get assigned. Our player input module did not get assigned on player input. Title screen UI. Player input, which is itself, and then of course itself, just make sure player input, our UI input module is none, and is still none, is not assignable. Unity, please. What the hell? I am actually kind of freaking confused here. What do they want me to do if not that? They surely cannot expect you to use single cameras throughout the entire damn game. I am not the only person that does layered cameras. And that's the whole reason why they implemented the stack camera system, I assume. But this is also, well, this is multiple scenes too, by the way, what we're doing here. where there's a core scene that always stays active and subscenes that render. And are they really hating on people doing that? Problematic. Problematic. Was there an error message that popped up about this at least? Anything that like maybe was explicit about defining, saying what the hell's going on here? Because we are, yeah. That definitely calls awake. That is definitely the title UI controller. I suppose what we can do here to make sure this actually calls, by the way, I guess, is awake. Let's see, title UI controller awake. Let's make sure that actually gets called. I mean, I could run debugger stuff, but this is just a little easier than trying to bind everything and fire up the debug. Null object reference. Where did that come from, actually? What and why are you causing a null object reference? And it doesn't go anywhere. Of an object, Unity graphs edge wake up. Okay. So on awake never happens here. That's an interesting one, actually. Which I don't understand the error of. Pointer related actions should used with the UI input module should generally be set to pass through type so that the module can properly distinguish between input from multiple pointers. UI middle click is set to button. Is that because of the any? It seems to be pretty standard throughout this. Left button, keyboard and mouse. Show derived bindings, okay. Oh, you know, there's also a problem here too, isn't it? Look at all this is I never actually defined this as keyboard and mouse. Even though it's any, technically. Yeah, that's gamepad stuff. Beep. What happened here? Boop. Go away. Lazy hand. Really sensitive keys. Okay, yep. Keyboard and mouse, and then gamepads, and then keyboard and mouse, of course. Wait, one didn't get trick. Okay. Yeah, there's something not assigned here. Gamepad. And then, yeah, back to keyboard and mouse. Perfect. I can hide this derived bindings thing. That's just cluttering the screen. Okay. So, though, why... And actually, these are just saying that none of them are assigned. So honestly, I don't even think this actually does need to be signed, and probably shouldn't, because UI is UI. We're not. There's no going to be no change in schemes. Woo! This is annoying. Click, 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 clickety, click, 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 click. Okay, there we go. But still doesn't make sense as to what it's complaining about. But also, yeah, this is a Unity lifecycle problem. This was I thought that was funny. Wait, it is a wake start update. Huh? Unity lifecycle, and component lifecycle order execution for events. It is called awake, not on awake. So with that said, why is it not executing? Is that where I'm getting the null reference exception? Let's see. That is the title UI controller. So core. But then I should. Oh, I'm not seeing this because it's not running first before something hits. So it's probably actually the null object, the null exception is hitting after that. Do 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 do. And yeah, that happens on a logo screen. So that's really also concerning. Like how and why is that happening on a logo screen? Graphs even though. Like what is even what's graphing here? Title screen controller awake. Okay, so it does actually run this, and then it actually it balks about this error after the title screen awakes, which is interesting. It's probably why it thinks it's probably like, yeah, okay, you're trying to assign this to two different canvas UIs. But in this particular case, we're not really trying to assign it to a canvas UI. We're trying to assign it to an input subscriber. Hmm. Of course, yeah, or on any is not on any. Menu isn't happy, but this main menu or this UI menu here is not. This is where I was wondering if maybe I'm gonna have to put this all on one core thing. I'm also a little concerned about that null object exception though. Like when did that start appearing? And what it might have to do with this. If I disable player input here, does it go away? Nope. Is it a problem of this? Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. Although it could still be trying to serialize that into there, regardless. Hmm. Step it back until before I did all this. It's okay. It seems to be just happening. I don't think it might not actually have anything to do with anything that I'm trying to do here. Ooh, excuse me. Might just be Unity itself. Yeah, it's starting to get to be that time. I'm starting to get yawny because it's near the end of the day. This is also why I wanted to do this before, or move the time ahead of time because now, I had all that energy and now it's nearing the end of the day and I'm wearing down instead of coming into it like completely zapped from working all day on this stuff. But yeah, restarting Unity. Wee do 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 do. It's probably some internal thing, hence why we can't trace down or see where the no object exception is happening, because it's not bringing up a component or object. This is going to nothingness. It's probably an actual Unity 6 bug, unfortunately. Woo! That's a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. These things are not supposed to be executing. I think I know what's happening there, but it shouldn't be firing that. Okay. Forward render. Yeah, the render feature isn't on there, so I shouldn't be doing that. I wonder what it's trying to do. Okay, but hitting play. Yeah, we don't get that bug now. So, okay. It's got to be a Unity editor bug. But we are still getting this and that. And yeah. And okay, menu works is fine. But we are clearly not seeing it activate into the game or doing the start thing. So, what is. Well, we know it's not getting an input on this. We know it calls it. We know it tries to assign it. What? Yeah, it clearly calls that. And yeah, this is still okay. So this is directly related to that. Yeah, I don't know what it means. What does it mean by should generally be set to pass through type? Pointer related actions used in the UI input module should generally be set to the pass through type. Okay. What does that mean? Is the problem with this? Why is that preprocessor shit? What? That doesn't make sense. Generate C# class doesn't make any sense in there either. Edit in project. Okay, yeah, it goes in. That is this. Okay. Uh-huh. If I go back to scenes and title, if I look here, UI. Okay. So it is looking for UI related specific components. So that any should be triggering off of this, but it needs, it needs this to go with it. But, I can't give it to it until runtime. But it complains at me. Uh-huh. And if I do give it, then it complains that I can't have two event systems running at once. Or does it? I wonder. I can only create the legacy one here, which is weird. But let's, drop that in place for now. And then in here, let it poop, switch it, and then you fix it. And then there we go. Is maybe the problem that? No. Oh, I think I get what might be happening here though, to a degree. This is an interesting problem. Player input.UI input module, right? We're looking for player input here, but we should probably actually be looking on title screen for. Well, no, because it's user input module, and it points to this event system, but it points to this input UI module on this event system. But that is clearly the user input module from that. Okay. I guess out of curiosity, what happens if I were to do Hmm. All right, time to ask Google. There is the whole thing with event system.current. But then how do I get to, because the current event system will be this, obviously. But then how do I get to this input system UI input module to assign it? guess get component, and then a input system UI input module. No fucking clue if that's gonna work. Okay, so we're at the title screen. Our title screen, the player input on it needs. Oh shit, it worked. Except, yeah, we need to kill the one that's in the title screen that was created. Yep, I get rid of that. Okay, encore. And there we go. All right, so yeah, escape brings up menu, of course. But what do we get here? Do we see any pressed? Is there even any action on any? Yeah, something press on any. Yeah, and I'm pressing any, and we're not getting any. So we are still having problems with that. But we can get rid of this BS. Because I'm pretty certain at this point now that it is working. Let's just verify that it did get our input module system. It is getting the wrong camera. Oops. Big oopsie. What if we give it the correct camera? What happens? I can assign it. Wonderful. That is amazing. Why does it say, oh, camera controllers? Okay, main controller. Wee. Oh, but look what else broke on top of doing this. The menu button broke. Our clicks are no longer making it through to the menu. Unity, why is this so jank? And now it's just kind of like not. Okay, yep, that's still assigned correctly here. Event system is still its own thing. That actually might be because of this. Oh, it's still not. Okay, well, let's run it back again to the test that I had. scene controller. Okay, load scene. Let's have it pause there again. Make sure that it does work up to that point. Which it does. So far, at least. I mean, yeah, even with, yep, there we go. And so it is only when the title screen kicks in that it decides that it's going to break. And there it goes. As soon as the title screen kicks on, it breaks. Is that because I thought it had been because of that, but it does not appear to be particularly the case. Camera controller, okay. That's something else that we need to figure out at a given point here, is why the skybox isn't activating for the title screen in specific. So that's something that will need to be prodded in this system, in this method. It might just very well not work because of Unity 6 and changes in it. And I really don't want to have to go back to doing everything per scene because that would be really janky on the menu side of things, especially in having that universal menu. Yeah, it's just not doing what you're supposed to with the new event and our input system. I wonder if it breaks because of assigning. So let's just get rid of this assignment temporarily and see what happens to the menu. If it's explicitly that assignment that's breaking it. So of course, doop, doop, here we go. We get through it, we're on the title screen, doop, doop, yep, works. So yeah, this is to be blamed. So why is it that a input system module cannot work between multiple UI components? What doesn't it like about that? And why should it matter? Event system. There it is. It is it. And then the button, it died. Yep. The reference input system measure was configured using a different input actions than this player input. They should match if you want to synchronize player input actions to the UI input. Why is that now coming up at runtime? And we have it here, the same, another input module not complaining about that. What happens if I click that? Pointer related actions used across the UI module should generally be, and we get that error again. Okay, and then of course we see this fighting for it and wanting to do the same thing. And then we come back and we see this fighting for it, wanting to do the same thing. But if I click the... Oh no! Oh! Oh, Unity! What is this? What is going on? Why is that happening? Excuse me, what? Is this happening solely because it's fighting between two different... What is it even changing when I click that? That is the part that is baffling here. What? Is it just literally we can't use the same input module on two different UI elements? Like, what? What is it? Like, what if I had two menus? Okay, in the same scene here. There you go, literally doubled up. I'll put in this menu the button on the right or left instead of the right. Oh, weird. It should have appeared up there, but it did not. Oh, because now it's behind. I see. Pivot 0. 0. There we go. We'll call this, of course, like, I don't know. It doesn't even, fuck it, doesn't even be different. What if I also halt the load to the title screen, just in case here. And we hit play. So now we have two menu buttons, two input modules being used by two different... Mother hell. And neither work. But I go to this one. Fix UI input module. Go to this one. Not there. Why Unity? Why? If you're not allowed to have two of these present, why am I not allowed to have multiple assigned or assigned to multiple UI components? That is the whole point, isn't it? Or can I do something absolutely ridiculous? Duplicate this, but remove not allowed. Ah! Ah! What am I even supposed to do? Unity, please. Brain is about to explode of stupid from this. I don't. What in the world? How did they fuck this up? Okay, let's use the fix on that, right? So it's because it's a frontward facing one. Yeah, there it is. Menu. Right. I can understand why this one, when it's active here, it doesn't want to be clicked because this menu is actually in the way and blocking it. So if I get rid of that, oh, hello. I guess maybe not. That theory went. What is this? Why are these appearing in the game screen? Widgets shouldn't be appearing in the game screen or gizmos. Because I clicked the button. Oops, I bumped it. Okay, never mind. I'm crazy. That's my own fault. But this is not. Okay, fix. Okay. But now it, yeah, nothing. Am I not allowed to have multiple canvases? What is the deal? What if I delete it while it's in return? Okay, we'll toggle this one. Click. Nothing. Oh, wait, we got the escape button back though, at least. But we have an acting up. Look at this. All these are gone. Actually. Um, what the fuck? Why? Uh-huh. Am I only allowed to have one player input? Is that what's maybe going on here? My brain is just like, what the fuck? Uh, the it would make sense, I guess. There's only one player input allowed, but it doesn't at all. Not in the slightest. You, huh. Hmm. I've run into this problem before, actually, thinking about it. I did run into this in a previous couple of things. There is only one event system allowed. There is only one uh interactable canvas or interactable system allowed. Uh because I mean, how is it going to differentiate when that menu is open and closed? I figured it would just be different events though. It would know when that menu was open and closed and whether or not to for the UI controls whether or not to respect them or not. So, but that would mean though that more than one player input should be allowed. And it's definitely going to be necessary. Well, it's UI input module in this case, so it is definitely going to be necessary to have the ability to use more than one UI input module. Or not UI input module, but player input module. In this game. In any game. Because you would naturally have two different UI, or multiple components subscribed to this component, and this player input is supposed to be doing the monitoring of these inputs and firing these events. What if I were to take off the UI crap out of this main menu? I mean, yeah, let's make a little tester, I guess. Input tester. I'll put that up there. We'll put an input module on this. a player input. All right, and of course we'll give it the same things, the UI camera and the input module. We will want it to subscribe to UI. And let's create a script. Where just create the script, I guess. Testing assets makes sense, I guess. But I don't have a scripts section specifically, do I? Utilities, I have FPS counter, that's fine. We can do, yeah, there we go. Scripting, in this case, a model behavior. Input tester. Okay. In this input tester, let's just do on menu. And then we can just have it say input tester on menu. So we know where it's called. And we can even, I don't know. Well, I mean, that's pretty obvious with that one, I guess. All right, we have 2. I have no input on this. Save. Oh, did I even add the component? I didn't. Input tester. Okay. So we have another component subscribed using player input. All right, so it's already doing the same crap as before. Fix UI input module. Why? Why is it doing this? Menu is breaking, hitting the escape key, calls only input tests on menu. It doesn't call the other one. This needs to be able to subscribe to multiple. So what is going on, I guess, with player input? Why is it not allowing more than one player input? Its main purpose is, for the player, I guess, yeah. Does the main menu need this? Because with a canvas, we have, okay, all that. Yeah, the player input is supposed to be singular, I guess. You're only allowed one player input. It needs to be whatever your player is. But we need something explicit still that can subscribe to these inputs that isn't a player input. Is there an alternative to this that isn't player input? Ooh. Player input is just a mono behavior. We have send messages and broadcast messages. I think that's actually what the problem is here. Player input module needs its own scripting of things. And my main menu controller needs to... Fuck. Okay, I get it. That's what we're doing wrong here. We actually do need a player input module solely and isolated from input. That the stuff on main player here so okay. Although it's this is basically could just be added onto this. I mean player input literally can just be this itself. If what we're gonna do is broadcast those messages. In this case UI. But this is disappointing now because multiple mappings. I'm gonna remove this then actually, in favor of seeing if we can player UI input and in player game input. And player game input would be player, of course. And UI input would be UI. Let me see if let's just get away with doing that. Input tester, we'll want to get rid of the player input. We'll want the input tester to still do that and have the event subscriptions, which in this case we do need to broadcast messages apparently. I guess there's a little description. Will broadcast message to game object and on these things. So how do we, okay, broadcast messages. When using send messages or broadcast messages, notification behavior player, what is it? Broadcast messages, you can set your app to respond to actions by defining methods in components, plural, like so. Okay, cool. Maybe that'll work. So if that's saying what it's saying is correct, I can remove it from here. Boop. And it should still see those messages. Menu, not clickable. Yeah, I might have broken it by having two of these at the moment, which it looks like I did. So let's not have two of these right now. And leave it to just UI. Menu. Okay. Menu button pressed in a general sense is not happening. Use game object broadcast message on the game object that the player input component belongs to. The broadcast the message down the game object hierarchy. Down the game object hierarchy. I'm supposed to parent anything that wants to use this to the... That's disgusting. No, that ain't happening. Invoke Unity events. Apparently that's a different type of thing. So then things bind and subscribe to it. Maybe that's okay. I would prefer if it did broadcasts, but in the correct way. Like where it broadcasts globally. Fine. Yeah, I'll just have whatever that needs a non-event actually do this description. So that means though that public void awake here needs to be written where event system. It looks like we can probably get away with doing it this way. Event system dot current dot what did we do there? In this event system current get this bit. If we do that and then but now why these things aren't working, okay. All right. Okay, so we do that and then dot. Oh, but this is UI input module. Am I allowed only one player input? Maybe it's something I can do. Player input dot events action event? No. Dot current? No. Dot what is that all about? When using Unity events. Okay. On fire. Okay, but it doesn't tell me how to runtime assign. Yeah, like how do I get at this player input? I suppose I could still go back to it being on the main menu, where it's serialized field, private, player input, player input. There seems like there's supposed to be a better way to get at it than this, similar to that. Other the event system, but I don't know. But let's see. Public. I don't know why this is serializable. Actually, it should be hidden in inspector. Hide in inspector. Player input. Player input. Oh, lowercase player input like that. There we go. And of course, this case we main menu controller dot instance dot player input dot actions. Is it actions? Action events dot. This is a problem because now I have to find the action event. It's going to have a bunch of action events, but it's not going to really. This is why it needs to be a broadcast, a proper broadcast, and not something I actually have to set out and subscribe to. Hey, Pumpkin, what do you think of this mess? Well, at least we found the solution to our problem. We found out that we can't have more than one player input, and our player input needs some way of having those events fire to other components because we can't just add one of these onto any component that we want. And it seems like we should, but we can't. Yeah, no, I don't. But yeah, So I need to actually like set up a system on top of already this, which seems so janky, but whatever. That will let me broadcast those events throughout the application. I can do this simply by adding functions, which it's just again more complexity on top of it all that doesn't need to be there when it should just be done correctly in the first place. I'll play with other ideas though to see if maybe I can simplify this, but I don't want to make it this complex system of nonsense. I mean, I can make it simplified to a degree, but it still has complexity that doesn't need to be there. Hopefully I don't have to do that, but it's looking like I will have to do that. Our events here have, UI and player. So it has two events. If I do events 1 dot, well, action name. So here's the problem though. For int I equals 0, I is less than this dot length dot count dot action events dot count I plus plus, then we're looking at I dot name. We're gonna end up with something really nasty here in representation. Let's see. That is the main menu, right? And then our player input, which is this, goes there. Save, play. What do we get? Null object references right off the bat. So this is already bad. Probably because that hasn't been implemented or started yet. Although, okay, no, that's there. Right, yeah. So that. Okay, here we go. And yeah, there it is. It's each individual one. But that's not what I want. I want these events. But then it's events. So maybe that's the action events. If they're not event. They are, okay, those are maps, right? Okay. I wonder if it's maybe like maps? Current action map. Dot events. Dot well, actions, I guess. But doesn't action by itself have a bindable event that I can assign? Okay, bindings, action map. I can't really say put a name, like have it display a name right here. In progress, well, name, there we go. So this will probably show all the different Yeah, the different names for UI. There you go. Okay, but what about the event? Performed, started, odd events. Input action callback context delegate. Okay, so it is an action that's assignable, but it doesn't look like the right one. I'll figure this out, I guess, later. This is, yeah, I'm calling it a day on this. But yeah, at least we know that what we've run into is that the UI, the player input can only be assigned once, which why, don't know. Defeats the purpose of it mapping. And I might have to write the mapper myself that handles event calls. Might even have to write my own event mapper, which is pain. Because the event mapper would need to be created so any object could subscribe on the events to be called. That's what I was hoping would happen here, but clearly that is not what's going on here. And C# events. Oh, okay, but yeah, no, that still doesn't help. Yeah, why can't I access this if it's going to be this way? And then broadcast messages, sure, yeah, these events are going to run, but only in child components, which is kind of gross in itself. I mean, it's a mapper. Why do I have to write a mapper for my mapper? What the heck? Unity. You're supposed to have made this easier. I didn't have to write a mapper for my mapper. You are doing my mapper for me. Why am I mapping my mapper? Ah! No more mapping. Anyways, I'm calling it a night. Y'all have a good night. Hope to see you next week. Yeah, sorry, Pumpkin doesn't really ever get to talk much, but yeah, there's not really room for her to talk much, I guess. Uh, yeah, it sucks. Will you bite me? But say goodnight to chat though, Pumpkin. Cool. Have a good night.